Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the very first ACFO Career Fair session. For those who don't know me, my name is Joe Bugner. I'm on the staff here at ACFO, and don't worry, you don't have to listen to me for too long. Our first guests today are from Health Canada. I'm going to turn the floor over to them in just a second, but I just wanted to remind you that you can also submit your questions today. So we're using the Slido app. If you've watched any of our webinars, you're familiar with this now. Go to slido.com, SLIDO.com, and enter the code ACFO-ACAF, and you'll be able to pose your questions to our presenters. We'll have that information up on the screen once we get to the question portion as well. So without further ado, I don't want to take up any more time. I'm going to throw over to my friend Allison from Health Canada, and she's going to tell you everything you need to know about working at Health Canada. Over to you, Allison.
Thanks so much, Joe. Thanks everyone for tuning in. It's great to be a part of this, first time doing it virtually, so thank you. Bonjour, je me nomme Alison McPherson. Je vais faire ma présentation en anglais, mais si vous avez des questions, vous pouvez me poser. Je vais répondre dans la langue de votre choix, donc n'hésitez pas. Donc, hi everyone and welcome. My name is Alison McPherson. I'm here with my colleague Pat Grantis today to talk to you about the department we work in, which is Health Canada. I've been at Health Canada for over 13 years, so it's been a while. I started there as an FI1 in financial systems. Our system is SAP, like many of you. I then moved to an FMA role that I stayed in for 7 years. I really enjoyed that. And I also spent some time working as a CFO's analyst. So I kind of saw it all. Currently, I'm an FI4. I'm the manager of the investment planning team. So I'm like so many other FIs at Health Canada. We tend to stick around for a long time. A lot of us get into the department and we end up spending the rest of our career there. And to me, that's a really good sign in a department. If you have a lot of people that stay for a long time, it tells you that it's a good place to work. And for us, Health Canada is a really good employer. So we're a medium-sized department. We're about 8,000 employees at Health Canada. And we work in the Chief Financial Officer branch, which is where all the FIs are. But Pat will talk to you more about that. So the great thing about working at a larger department is that you get to easily move around and gain all sorts of experience that will benefit you throughout your career. Whether you want to gain experience as an FMA in costing, internal controls, financial planning, operations, financial systems, you can do it all here at Health Canada. One of the interesting things about health is the programs that we support. It's very relevant to all the Canadians. We're often in the news, right now more than normal, but a lot of our programs end up in the news. We can easily see why what we do is so important to the health and safety of Canadians. It gives great value to your work. You feel like you're actually giving back to the community, which is great in finance. You don't see that often. So I can't talk about Health Canada without mentioning COVID. Over the past several months, I'd say starting in January, February, the department has been working tirelessly on responding to the pandemic. This includes all sorts of different things like getting personal protective equipment for Canadians, approving rapid tests, procuring equipment, developing COVID app, which hopefully everyone has on their phone, and all the publications and media releases, just to name a few. It's been a huge part of what we've all been working on for the past several months. But we can't forget about all the other things we do at Health Canada because that hasn't stopped. We have a whole bunch of other programs that we need to deliver on. So Health Canada is a science department. It's part of the health portfolio. Our goal in the department is for Canada to be amongst the countries with the healthiest people in the world. We can accomplish this through science research, consultations, communications to Canadians, and by encouraging Canadians to take an active role in their health. So as FIs, we're able to support some really important and interesting program work to reach these goals. And just to name a few, there was the legalization of cannabis, and now it's licensing and inspection of producers, responding to the opioid crisis, harm reduction, communications with tobacco and vaping, front of package labeling for tobacco, developing and updating Canada's food guide, which was recently done, controlled substances and drugs awareness on use and abuse, consumer product safety testing, which is really interesting, recalls and safety alerts, which by the way, you can sign up for and get automatic updates on those on the canada.ca website. The regulation of drug and health products, including testing and inspections, natural health products, pesticides and pest management regulations. And we also support the Public Health Agency from a system and procurement side of things. And this is just the name of the few interesting things we do here at Health Canada. We've also been voted top employer in the NCR, as well as top employer for young people and best diversity. So we're located across Canada. We have most of our FIs here in the NCR, but we do have an office in Toronto, and we're seeing an increase in flexibility with things like telework and satellite offices. For me, I have an employee that works in Toronto on a full-time basis. So just, we're modernizing how we work. I'll talk a little bit about my personal experience here at Health Canada, because I think these questions come up a lot, so I'll address them now, mainly about work-life balance. So for me, I started when I was having kids, so there were a lot of work-life balance issues. Some of the things that the department was able to accommodate for me was working outside core hours, so starting earlier to accommodate childcare. I've also dropped to part-time hours for a few years just to be able to be home with my kids more. I've done income averaging several years in a row. I've worked compressed work schedules, and I've done work from home as well. And that was before the pandemic. Now, during the pandemic, most of us have been working from home, and we've been able to do all of our work remotely, which has been great. We don't know what the future will bring. Every department kind of has to figure that out. But we know that as FIs, we can do pretty much everything, or most of everything, remotely if needed. I've also had the opportunity to take courses and training. I've done my schooling while working. I got my CPA designation while I worked, and there was flexibility and accommodations for that, which was very helpful for me at the time, many years ago, it seems. I've also had support to learn and grow as an employee, which is really important. When I needed to learn new things, I had the opportunity to move to a new area in the department and to broaden my knowledge base. I think that alone is a really good reason to choose a department where you want to work. It's just the willingness to teach you new things. So if you're being put first as an employee, that's really important. Here, senior management takes the time to teach us and mentor us. We're encouraged to shadow them, to see what it's like on the other side, and if moving up is something that would appeal to us. So that's my experience working at Health Canada. I'll turn it over to Pat to look a little bit more at the branch we work in, which is CFOB. Thank you.
Thanks, Allison. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pat Granis. I manage the financial policies and internal control teams at Health Canada within the Chief Financial Officer branch. My experiences at Health Canada are very similar to what Allison outlined. I've been working at Health Canada for about 12 years. I've worked in areas of resource management, financial policies, accounting operations. Like Allison said, it's an excellent place to work. Health Canada received a number of awards, like she mentioned, and Allison did go through all of the interesting different ways that we can work, and I too have experienced a number of those as well, benefited from those areas. So I'll just put up a slide right now about this Chief Financial Officer branch. That just speaks to how it's organized. Health Canada's Chief Financial Officer branch is the departmental focal point of accountability to ensure rigorous stewardship of resources and managing poor results. The Chief Financial Officer, like Chief Financial Officers across government departments, provides the Minister, the Deputy Minister, and departmental executive with strategic advice on efficiency of expenditures and value for money, as well as anticipating and promoting future trends. CFO reports directly to the Deputy Minister and is a key part of the Senior Management Board. Within CFOB, within the Chief Financial Officer branch, there's 3 directorates. Within CFOB, there are about 154 FIs working there at all levels. Within the Financial Operations Directorate, there's 72 FIs. Things that are done within the Financial Operations Directorate are things like accounting operations, material and assets management, so procurement and contracting, corporate accounting and reporting, the team that manages SAP, as well as financial policies, internal controls, transport payment management system, and salary management oversight. Within the Resource Management Directorate, there are 70 FIs that handle things like financial management advisory services, budgeting, forecasting, advice to clients, project management, RLU, estimates, departmental plan, departmental results reports, risk management, corporate risk profile. And in the cost recovery and investment planning directorate, there's 12 FIs responsible for things like revenue management, departmental user fees, costing and corporate services calculations, and investment planning. So overall, there's a pretty large contingent of FIs within Health Canada. Like Alison mentioned, there's a lot of different opportunities to areas to work and opportunities to move around. You know, the various FI levels from FI1 to FI4 are really well represented across all directorates. And you know, there's opportunities to grow your career and to get experience in a lot of different areas. Okay, so that's the summary of Chief Financial Officer branch, and Alison and I'd be happy to take any questions that you have.
Great, thanks very much for that, Pat. So just a reminder for folks, they can submit their questions using Slido. That's slido.com. And you can enter the code ACFO-ACAF. So we're just going to get the questions up on screen here as well. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask and do 6 things at once. But I know that the first question, Pat, is one you addressed a little bit. Maybe if we can just kind of get a synopsis and a rundown of those. How many FI positions do you have at Health Canada? I know you kind of gave a breakdown department by department, but can you kind of give an overall number of FIs within the department?
Yeah, there's 154 at the latest numbers, and they're across all levels from FI1 to FI4.
Great, thanks very much. Now, there's another question there as well that it's one that I think we're going to get a lot, and we're going to hear from this question probably posed to every department. But you know, you mentioned, Alison, some of the flexibility in terms of working from home even before the pandemic. But does Health Canada have any documented plans, or you been told anything about when you might expect to return to the workplace? I'm not sure who wants to answer that.
I can go ahead and talk about that. So we have committees set up to talk about this, to plan for this. There's no plan yet. We have everybody who has to be there, essential workers that have to be in the office are now back, and we have safety protocols in the offices and all that. But for everybody else, right now it's sit tight and stay home for the foreseeable future.
And Joe, just to build on Alison's response there, we've done a really good job, or Health Canada has done a really good job at providing the tools and resources to allow the employees to be working remotely. You know, there's a Microsoft Office suite that's really integrated. We're using MS Teams more and more for a lot of meetings that used to originally be just a replacement of telephone calls. And over the last number of months, we've seen a lot of uptake with video calls. So it's really like being face-to-face with our colleagues, which is great. We're finding that you know, VPN is strong, network is strong, and there is I haven't experienced really a lot of significant problems with being able to do our work from our homes.
That's great. I appreciate that. So there's a bundle of questions here that maybe we can tackle all at once. There's a question about what type of positions are being filled right now, and there's some specific questions about unilingual positions at the FI3 level and any openings for FI1. So if you want to sort of get into some of the specifics, if you got them, about what kind of openings and timelines, and then we can move on to some other questions from there.
Yeah, sure. I can jump on some of that. We definitely have openings at all levels right now. I'm just trying to look at my sheet here. We have FI1 in corporate accounting, FI2s and 3s in as FMAs. Again, FI1, FI2, it's kind of like an ongoing recruitment for those. So if you are interested in moving, just ship over your resume, and there's always openings. So even if there's none right now, we can we'll see some in the future. FI3, have FI3 in firms, which is our SAP support team, and FI2s in salary management oversight. We have an FI3 in transfer payments, and I think, Pat, you have an FI2 in internal controls.
I have a desperate need for an FI2 bilingual on my financial policies team. It's a really small but great group. So if I can give my pitch, Joe, you don't mind. It's a really good team. We're small. We handle a lot of different things on developing new or updating existing financial policies. So there's things like research, writing involved, which is very different than the usual FI kind of spreadsheet work. There's also work on doing acquisition cards for the department. We manage that, as well as delegation instrument. All sorts of stuff. It's a really interesting area. We're also looking at data analytics. So these kinds of things, keep throwing out words until people really want to send me your resume. Happily to review it. The position is a bilingual BBB, and it's good for that because we do provide a lot of advice and guidance throughout Health Canada and Public Health Agency in both English and French.
That's great. Thanks for that, Pat. And yeah, you're here to plug those positions. So that's what we want you guys doing. That's the point of all this. And the note on the website reminds folks, if you are interested in these positions, don't just send a resume and take a few minutes to fill out something in the email, explain what it was about Allison or Pat's presentation that caught your eye, and make sure that you're tailoring it to them so that Pat knows how to find you when the time comes. There's a question here, Allison. You spoke to this a little bit about some of the flexibility with telework, and if I could take that question and tweak it slightly. I mean, talk a bit about the flexibility prior to COVID, but I know a lot of folks are wondering as well, as part of that longer term plan, is more robust access to telework and more of a permanent telework, at least a component of the department, something that's planned for the longer term, as far as you know.
Yeah, for sure. I think Health Canada, our CFO, has been listening to what people wanted, and we try to be very flexible. So it's always manager's discretion, but overall, our CFO is supportive. We had support to entertain different ideas of different work arrangements, and we had some people that were doing 1 to 2 days at home. We have a couple that were full-time at home. So there's definitely flexibility, and I think it was ramping up, like it was becoming more and more accepted, but because of COVID, we've all proven that we can do maybe 95% of our work at home. So the conversation has shifted quite a bit with senior management, where it's like, okay, now look, we can do it. So what is the future going to look like? Of course, we can't answer that right now, but we're definitely looking into other options. So not necessarily, okay, pandemic's over, we're all going back 5 days a week. We're looking at more flexibility, because if people seem to be enjoying and able to work well from home, it's something that we're going to look into, obviously. But again, there's no decisions yet. It's a long ways away, and we're kind of adjusting as we go. But there's definitely talk on how we're going to work once the pandemic's over.
And part of that as well, Joe and Allison, is just the technological side of it as well. Before COVID, I think there was about 3,000 VPNs available for employees. As Allison said, there's about 8,000 or 9,000 employees of Health Canada. So, right away, early on in March and April, the department was busy making its IT system more robust. Now there's enough VPN access for everybody at the department, and the other tools that I mentioned before with MS Suite and all the other things just makes it a lot easier. So where there may have not been opportunity before, there's opportunity now. And just reiterating what Allison said, we don't know what the future is going to look like, but it's been good so far.
That's great. That's encouraging. And we're hearing that from a lot of departments, and it's something that I think I'm glad people are asking that question, because I think it's an important thing to look at moving forward. There's a quick question there about which financial system Health Canada uses, SAP or otherwise. I see you're both nodding. Does that mean yes, it's SAP?
It's SAP, yeah.
Perfect. Nailed that one quickly. There's a good question there. I know we've talked. I see the question says, do you have an FI4 opening? But it sounds like from what you said, you've got openings at every level, and if not now, again soon. So unless you want to clarify that, what I do want to take a couple minutes on, though, is the question about training budget. If you can give us a sense of if you have a per dollar per employee training budget, or just generally some reflections on access to training for FIs at Health Canada, that'd be great.
So I don't think there's a specific training amount. I think I've seen 1,000 per employee in the past. It depends on a few different things. It depends if you need your training hours, professional development hours for your CPA. There's a little bit more, but I mean, if you have a training plan, or there's something you want to take that's above and beyond what may be allocated to you, that's something you can work out with your manager. We're always open. Training is encouraged like crazy at Health Canada. I'm sure it's like that other places too, but it's supported. So if you have something you want to do, there's not necessarily a set limit where you're going to be capped.
Yeah, and it depends on the managers and budget constraints of the year. For example, for me this year, I have notionally about $1,500 per employee. Not everybody's taking advantage of it. You know, the agreement is always being able to manage workload as well as training requests. So there's a give and take on both sides. And Allison, as Allison said, you know, that's a conversation between the manager and the employee.
That's great. Thanks, Pat and Allison. So I do see some more questions coming in, and unfortunately I have to be mindful of time because I know that we've got to let Allison and Pat get back to serving Canadians at Health Canada, and we need to move on to our next session. But maybe just for the last one, it'd be interesting. There's a question there about employees transitioning from other departments and whether or not courses are available online. And I think that speaks to a bigger question as well. You know, if someone does express interest and want to join your team, what's that transition going to be like when we're, you know, working from home? So if you can give a sense of what that move, you know, inward movement from one department to another into Health Canada, and what sort of support and resources they'll have access to in this sort of COVID pandemic working online era.
We have an online resource center. That's our online training platform for things like, I think it's HR training, it's finance training, you know, delegation training, acquisition cardholder training. So there's that. It's mostly, it has pre-COVID, it was accessible through the Health Canada network only. But I think now it's sort of outside of the network just to allow for technological reasons. But we're trying to bring some employees in from other departments. We're finding there's a bit of delay with respect to clearing security. There's just a backlog. And I think what used to take a couple of weeks is now taking a couple of months.
And maybe
well, thanks very much for that. Oh, sorry, Allison, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to add to that too, that we do have a whole slew of just regular Health Canada training to do online as well. We have onboarding courses and stuff like that. So you're pretty well taken care of when you join here. You're not left to fend for yourself.
That's great. That's what we'd like to hear. All right. With that, it's getting close to the end of our time. So I just wanted to quickly thank Allison and Pat for their time today. I hope that session was useful for you guys and for everybody watching. Just a reminder that on the ACFO website where you found the link to watch this video, there's a link there for a CV submission. There's a template for your CV if you need one there. And I'm sure that the folks at the other end of that email box would be happy to answer any questions that we weren't able to get to here today. So with that, thank you, Allison. Thank you, Pat, very much for your time. For those who are attending the next session, it's at 2 o'clock with the Administrative Tribunal Support Service of Canada, one of the newer groups, new departments we have. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you very much to our hosts, and hopefully we'll see you at a few more sessions, and hopefully everyone's registered for tomorrow's spring tune-up. All right, take care and goodbye.
Thanks, Joe.